Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, Bow and Arrow Tarot. Today we're going to get right into the 2020 outlook for the sign of Scorpio. All right, my lovely Scorpios. I did a reading for you earlier actually, and as it happens sometimes with my readings, something goes wrong with the videoing and it's gone. It's just not there, or it just isn't working, or I can't get it loaded up. And usually it's a sign for me to redo the reading and tap into another more important message. And that's what we're going to be doing today. So let's go ahead and get your 2020 outlook out for you, Scorpio. Of course, your other videos are all sort of linked in the top of the description. And this is going to be a general reading for Scorpios, okay? So this could be about your career, your love life, or what have you. It's a general reading to see what my collective, those of you who are tuning into this video, and your Scorpio, what you may or may not be dealing with this year, what the focus may be, you know, what energies you may be working with. And of course, this reading isn't going to be for all Scorpios, right? So some Scorpios are not going to have anything like this reading for a year. It's going to be very different for them, and that's fine. I always encourage my watchers to go ahead and check out a lot of different channels. And, you know, when you find a reader that you feel most sort of resonates with you, then that's the readings that, you know, you may want to come back to. So let's get right into it, Scorpio. You have Strength. Coming out this year, covered by, Six of Cups. Nice. You have an Ace of Swords. All right. And you have Empress energy. Strong cards coming out, guys. Ace of Cups this year. Okay, so now I know why I needed to redo this reading. And we come out with a King of Cups. Wow, Scorpio. Really like a nice sort of two aces so far. And we've got an Empress and a King. Very nice. You got Five of Wands as your energy coming into the year. And you do have an Eight of Cups that meets you. Okay. You've got Six of Pentacles. And then a Nine of Cups is what you round the year off with. Okay, so at the bottom of the deck, you have the High Priestess coming in for you. This is a really strong reading. Very, very strong indeed. Wow, what can I say, my lovely Scorpios? This is going to be definitely a year of new beginnings. New beginnings in love, new beginnings in sort of in relationship. You round off the year very blessed, very happy. All right, let's get this one up. And you have the High Priestess walking with you all year. So let's get right into her energy. High Priestess comes in, and the High Priestess is, of course, the second in the major arcana. She talks about your intuitive ability, how to tap into the spiritual energies that we have. How do we do that? How do we hone that? How do we find our intuitive voice? Well, it is a very personal voice, right? Everyone has a different one, and so the High Priestess can't actually tell you exactly how to do it. She's very, very cagey with her secrets that she's learned, with the knowledge that she has. She's not willing to just give it to you. She speaks to, though, her energy speaks to the road that you must take, right? The road to take in order to come across the same information and wisdom that she holds. And that road is, it is a difficult road at times. You know, it's hard to listen to your intuitive voice. It's hard to have this sort of internal dialogue because it requires you to really face yourself a lot of times. It requires you also to have the self-confidence and the courage to listen to your voice, because listening to your intuitive voice also means listening to it when it's telling you something you don't want to hear. You know, a lot of people mistake their intuitive voice with that, you know, with that voice inside of you that always tells you what you want to hear. That's your ego. And they're two totally different things. You know, the intuitive voice is going to tell you the truth. Now, whether or not you're able to listen to it or face up to it, a lot of times people have the truth ringing inside of them, but they have such a difficulty facing up to it because within that truth, there may be something that they have to face about themselves, that they ignore it. They absolutely ignore it, or they react very strongly, or they lash out as a result. This is when somebody's feeling guilty. For instance, feeling guilty, legitimately feeling a little bit of guilt, or your conscience tugging at you. This is a form of your intuitive voice talking to you and telling you that you're going against your soul, right? Going against your spiritual center. Now, if you don't listen to it and if you just carry on, then that is a form of not listening to your intuitive voice. Right? And I'm not talking about guilt that's misplaced. I'm talking about your conscience talking to you. These are all different aspects of listening to yourself and learning to have that internal dialogue, which ultimately is the road you have to take to learn the secrets of the high priestess, to learn how to be in control spiritually of your life. And so this is something that's going to be resonating with you for the whole year, Scorpio, which is really, really nice. It means that this year, a lot of you are going to be sort of increasing your self-confidence. High Priestess is also the highest card for self-confidence, because when we listen to our inner voice and the reaffirmations come in to let us know we are right, this is oftentimes a real self-esteem booster, and it can make us really feel like we are very much in control of our lives. Now let's get into your energy in the center. Excuse me, I'm jumping ahead. Scorpio, we have, wow, look at this, beautiful, strong energy. And it's interesting because the reading that I did earlier for you was indeed talking about strength, but it was for a Scorpio that was having a real difficult time evolving and facing up to their own toxicity. And it was quite a difficult reading because it seemed to be for somebody who just, I almost felt very much like, why am I doing this reading? Because this reading is for somebody who's not even going to listen to it, who's not even open for that, right? And I felt uneasy about it. And now here we come back to this revised reading here, this new reading that I'm doing. And strength has come out again. But this time we're talking about strength, Scorpio, that you are exercising this year towards the objective of calling in a love connection. You are working on sort of your baser emotions. You are doing all of the hard shadow work that's involved with the strength card to be able to sustain a love connection. This is your energy covering you this year, the Six of Cups. And so the Six of Cups, of course, talks about having pleasant relationships, right? Having happy relationships. A lot of times it is associated with soulmate energy or twin flame energy, but it can be friendships also. Six of Cups is just the pleasure of enjoying one another's company, whether that is friends or lovers or what have you, right? And wanting to build memories, right? Wanting to have harmony in our relationships, because of course 6 is the number for harmony. So Six of Cups is a real desire to have like a harmonious relationship with others around you. And Scorpio, you're coming in with this sort of overall desire for the year. However, strength is your main card, is your center card. And so for a lot of you, I think you're learning that there's some things that you have to work on, in yourself, because the strength card represents a time in our lives when we are working on sort of rising above our lower passions, right? Taming our lower passions, taming pride and jealousy and envy, taming the desire to react in a very vindictive or spiteful way when we've been hurt. These are all kind of very lower, baser emotions. And with the strength card, this is a time in our lives where you are learning to sort of deal with that, learning to sort of be strict with yourself, right? To be, just as you are taming a lion, you would have to be strict. You have to be strict with yourself. You have to be strong, right? You have to be strong to not react in the face of somebody hurting your feelings. And when your normal reaction is that of a lion to lash back, it requires true strength to be able not to do that and to rise above it. And this is why the strength card is a very nuanced tarot card. It's a very complex tarot card, one of the more complex cards because of the nature of the message. But in any case, this is what you're going through this year, and you're really sort of evolving up. This is definitely a reading for Scorpio who's going up into their eagle or their dove this year. Okay, and if you don't know what I mean by that, you'll have to Google that. I won't get into it here because I'm not really an astrologer per se, but I do know that there are different incarnations and different sort of I want to say, stages to the Scorpio. It's one of the only signs I believe that has that. And a lot of you, when you are learning these heavy life lessons, you resonate up into one of your other incarnations, and they are eagle or dove. And some of you are very much doing that this year, because this work that you're doing here is so, so strong. You will come out of this year feeling so strong, Scorpio. Now let's get into your conscious and unconscious energy. Your conscious energy is Ace of Swords, and your unconscious energy is Empress. And so for a lot of you, you've gotten a lot of inspiration this year. You're coming into the year with a real sort of like awakening in your thought process. Some of you are going to really sort of have an epiphany. It's going to be a year of epiphanies, a year of waking up and realizing certain things about yourself. This is going to be a lot to do with how you think, your mental sort of state, right? Because swords, of course, is associated with communication and the mind. But this year, I think you're really going to wake up to a lot of sort of, you're going to get a lot of clarity. You're going to get a lot of epiphanies. You're going to wake up, and these things are all going to come in connection with how you see the world and how you see yourself in the world. And a lot of these awakenings, I'm going to say, or sort of almost the cloud for some of you is parting, because some of you may have really been unable to sort of think clearly in some areas of your lives, because you may have been sort of hampered with feelings of guilt and, self-esteem issues and things like that. But this year is a real growth year, and so that veil kind of splits, splits and moves away, right? It kind of dissipates. And you begin to understand so much more about yourself and about the nature of your relationships and who you are. And all of this is predicated on this Empress energy that you have in the back of your mind, which is this intense desire to be the best that you can be, Scorpio. This is a year where you're really working on yourself because of your true desire to sort of like be that best you. Because Empress energy is all about nurturing yourself, taking care of yourself, having love of self. When you love yourself and you take care of yourself and you make sure that, your mind, body, and soul is healthy, this resonates out. This is the law of attraction. This is why the Empress is, of course, associated with Venus and the goddess of beauty and love. This is also why the Empress is so creative and receptive, because by making sure that she's always at her best, right? That she's always continuing to pour energy into herself as well, so that she's always fertile, she can continue to be a vessel for creativity. She can continue to sort of be, have her heart chakra open, to be open, right? All of these beautiful things that we associate with the Empress, all of this is predicated and based on how well she takes care of herself, because she's very much in the garden of her own making. And this is another thing with Empress energy. When we resonate in our Empress, right, it's oftentimes, eventually what we will see also is we see how our surroundings really match who we are, right? All of the beauty that we have inside of us that we've sort of fine-tuned over the years of taking care of ourselves, right, and things like that. With Empress energy coming into your life, this also begins to get mirrored in your sort of environment. So, your environment may resonate up, or it may sort of be more in tune with who you truly are. This begins to happen when we truly take care of ourselves. An example could be like if you have neglected yourself for a long time and really sort of like not really taking care of your body, or not taking care of your sort of emotional state, right? And you kind of like feel very sort of worn. And remember, this is not gender specific, okay? But you're feeling very sort of worn out and sort of uncreative and uninspired and things of that nature, right? Oftentimes your environment is going to mirror that. You're probably going to live in an environment or a place, a house or whatever, that is very much like that, very uninspiring and very drab, etc. The more that you live the life that you want to live, the more that you are who you are, and you work on that, and you sort of, I want to say, you cultivate it and you nurture it, the more that your surroundings will begin to mirror that as well, and you start to live in this beautiful garden. I took some time with Empress because you guys have that in the back of your mind for the year. And this is such a strong energy for taking care of yourself, really, Scorpio, for sort of resonating yourself up and making sure that you are as healthy as you can be. For those of you who are wanting really to call in a love connection, which ultimately the entire year is covered with the Six of Cups, it is very much about this first step of law of attraction, which is you come into the year absolutely realizing that if you want love, you have to start with loving yourself and working on yourself. Now look at this. You start the year off with a beautiful Ace of Pentacles, and you round the year off with a King of Cups. Ace of Pentacles talks about a beautiful opportunity for financial growth and blessings to come in. Of course, this is just an opportunity, but it is the essence of the suit. And with aces, we see the full potential in an opportunity, right? So this opportunity that comes in has the full potential for providing you everything that you've ever wanted on the material level. It is really down to you taking the opportunity and what you make with it. And so for some of you, you're coming in this year not only with a lot of clear thinking, sort of a lot of awakening and understanding about yourself. You also come into this year, some of you Scorpios are really at your top game when it comes to things like your career or you're strategizing your career. You know, you're really at your game, at your top with whatever sort of mental endeavors that you're in. You know, so if you are a strategist for your living, or if you're a lawyer or something like that, if the work that you do also involves a lot of mental sort of activity and being sort of sharp all the time, having to be very original and creative all the time and come up with solutions, then you are also very much at the top of your game with that this year, Scorpio. And of course, this opportunity coming in for you is really going to speak to that talent that you have this year. You round a year off with King of Cups. Now, what can I say? You know, the King of Cups is Scorpio energy, right? This is you. So you round a year off very much in charge of your love life. You know, this love connection that you have, that's really resonating with you throughout the year, that is really coloring a lot of your intentions and a lot of your decisions, right? By the end of the year, I think you are absolutely in control of bringing that in if you haven't already locked it down by the end of the year. Because you round the year off with a King of Cups. The King of Cups is oftentimes the married man, the one who has found his lover and married his lover. He's locked it down. The King of Cups is very sort of like kings being fire and cups being water. We have the fiery aspect of water. So here we're talking about somebody who goes after what they want with regard to a relationship. You know, they meet somebody that they love and they absolutely go after them, or they do whatever they need to do to make sure they can lock that relationship down, right? And then, you know, they move forward. You know, this is the King of Cups, you know, sort of nature. Sometimes they can be very possessive and jealous, of course, but the King of Cups is very much in tune with his feelings and what he wants for his life, and he's absolutely not afraid to have that fiery aspect of going out in the world and getting it. So certainly I want to say, you guys, throughout the year, as you're working on all of this that you're doing, certainly this new career path, and really a lot of self-realization that you're doing this year and sort of resonating up, certainly a lot of you really sort of taking care of yourself on all levels. It is no wonder that by the end of the year, King of Cups comes in the sense that, I'm going to say by that point, you will have gotten your lover. You will have gotten your commitment from your lover. You will be in a very sort of like stable position in the type of relationship that you have been wanting, and it will have been because of you intentionally going out and getting it, and you intentionally taking care of all of these other issues in your life so that you can go out and get it. This is such a healthy Scorpio. Right? This is for a Scorpio who's extremely mentally and emotionally healthy. That's why I say this is absolutely for a Scorpio who may be resonating up into one of their other incarnations. Coming into a year with 5 of Wands and being met with 8 of Cups. So this energy that you come into the year with in general, right? I want to say this is not what you come in with, because this is this attitude, right? You have this attitude towards a lot of things this year, and it's a 5 of Wands attitude. So interesting. 5 of Wands is a bit of a bickering attitude. It's a bit of like trying to see who's better. It's very, very competitive. Be careful, Scorpio. because this is where you will be tested in a lot of ways. You have strength coming in here, right? And this is the overall for your year, this finding the strength. But there will be very many times in the year where your attitude is really just to go ahead and get into the thick of it, right? Because it's your nature to be a very competitive Scorpio. You are a very competitive sign. So, you know, it's not unnatural for you to sort of get, you know, even though your goal is to sort of really get yourself under control and get sort of more stability and strength in your life, just take care that there will be instances throughout the year with people in your life who want to engage you in this kind of power struggle, this kind of battle. And this particular power struggle, Five of Wands, is really very much about who's the best. I'm the best. No, I'm the best. No, I'm the best. So this is a real battle of egos. And you're kind of, so when you come, this is your attitude, right? So you are at times being very sort of ready to argue, but you are met with an Eight of Cups. And this is quite interesting. There will be at some points throughout the year some lessons. I think this lesson here is a lot to do with what you're learning, Scorpio, in a sense that these epiphanies I'm talking about, right? And this strength card, in a sense, this realization that you have to work on yourself and your own sort of emotions, right, to get to where you want to be, to pull in a love connection. I think you realize all of this out of this, right? Because I think there are going to be times throughout the year where you engage in a certain type of behavior, and as a result of it, like here, this kind of bickering, combative, very sort of competitive behavior, but you're met with an Eight of Cups, so somebody in your life decides to walk away from you as a result of it. So some of you, and this is so interesting because the reading I did earlier had a lot to do with this energy, but it was only focusing on this energy. And so in a lot of ways, it was a very negative reading, which is very unusual. I had very few times do I have those. But here, the strength has shown up in that reading, but also this aspect has shown up. But here in this reading, it's interesting because it is this aspect of the way you carry yourself, Scorpio, or the way you engage in, you know, this battle. You know, some of you are always ready to battle. You never really give an inch or a quarter, you know. And so throughout the year or at various times in the year, could also be at the end of the year, this year, this event may happen, but it's this attitude you have, but you're met with this attitude from someone that you really care about. And their attitude is that they leave you as a result of it. And it's this kind of sort of like, shit, oh my God, they actually left. I don't think that you may have believed that they were going to leave for real. I think you thought that maybe this was going to be like back and forth. Oh, they'll come back. I'll say I'm sorry. They'll come back, and then, you know, it's this sort of like vicious circle. But there's going to be at least once, maybe a couple more times in a year where this happens, with someone who you really feel strongly about, and it really kind of kicks you in the ass in a way, Scorpio. And it's this sort of feeling here that really wakes you up to all of this work that you have to do here, and that you're happy to do, that you really embrace. But it's this wake-up call you get here with your behavior that gets you to realize where it is that you've been going wrong and what work it is that you need to do to call in this love. Could very well be that after this person leaves, this is the person that you work on getting your shit together for, because this work here, this is very strong sort of internal work, spiritual work, etc., right? Still with the aim of this love connection. So I think for some of you, absolutely, it's going to be a case of this year you're working to get yourself together to bring back a lover that you lost, maybe just in the beginning of this year or last year, the beginning of this 2020 period, or just around this time now, or this recent past. It's interesting because this is the attitude and what you're met with when you in 2020. But I do believe that this kind of thing has already happened before the beginning of 2020, because you come into the year with this energy. But again, I also believe that throughout the year, this may happen a couple more times for you, Scorpio. And it's really going to drive the issue home that, you know, wow, I drove somebody away, and here I thought I was really like the shit, or I thought I was doing the right thing. And I'm not coming down on you, Scorpio, at all, but I'm just saying this is the nature of a sort of dynamic that happens that really gets you to wake up. And it's good because you work on everything you need to work on to bring your lover back. For some of you, you absolutely succeed in bringing a lover back that may have walked away from you by the end of the year with this King of Cups. Your fears and hopes and dreams are 6 of Pentacles, and your outcome is a 9 of Cups. And so 6 of Pentacles is like your ability, you hope and dream that you can give of yourself, that you can open up, that you can be more giving so that you can be more receiving. You're hoping for, certainly for harmony in your life and harmony between your sense of responsibility to others and to yourself, right? But you also fear that, and I think for a lot of you, you fear sort of opening yourself up to criticism or opening yourself up to a deeper level of engagement for fear of judgment, perhaps. 6 of Pentacles is a time in your life where you have, a healthy sort of attachment to money, and you're able to do what you want with it. You're able to give it out to folks, and you're able to help others, right? You're also able to receive. This card also talks about being able to receive and being able to realize when you need help too. This is all part of kind of your struggle this year also, Scorpio, for some of you. This feeling of really sort of, you would love, for some of you, it's the pressure of wanting to be at a certain financial level so that you can be these things, so that you can do what you want to do, so that you can help those in your life that you want to help or do charitable things, right? This feels to me like very much a feeling of inadequacy that some of you may be dealing with this year. And all of this will be dealt with as well as a result of this Ace of Pentacles. So for some of you, that financial component and the feeling of maybe not having an adequate financial component is a little sliver of this year for you, and you will be working on that. But you certainly have a strong opportunity you come into the year with right away. And so for some of you, I think the worry about actual financial stability is going to be gone fairly quickly, right? But yet and still, you still sort of have this hope and dream in a lot of ways for a lot of you that I believe you think that your status, if your status raises, it will help you to sort of bring in this love connection, right? But you round off the year with the 9 of Cups, which is interesting. It's wish fulfillment. 9 of Cups talks about wish fulfillment and blessings coming in. And you round the year off certainly with a feeling of being blessed and a feeling of really sort of being on the right path towards getting that final connection, right? I think you've learned throughout the year, you've learned that you are blessed, and you've learned to sort of be a lot more grateful for some of the things that you have, Scorpio. And so in this way, with 9 of Cups, you do round a year off in a really healthy space. Because regardless of what got you to the point of wanting to work on these issues, you're working on these issues in 2020. And so, of course, when you round off the year, you round it off in a very happy, contented, blessed sort of space, of feeling of, you're blessed and you're grateful for it, and you're no longer in this veil, right, in this sort of haze of not really realizing what you have, et cetera, et cetera. That was all part of this sort of haze here that you're working through. However, with all the 9 cards, remember there is an inherence of the Hermit and this feeling of being alone, and really this feeling that deep, deep love connection, right, that union, which ultimately takes us to a 10, is still elusive. And so by the end of the year, some of you may indeed still be on your own. You may not have called in this love connection the way you wanted to, but you will have, as a result of your desires, still worked on yourself throughout the year. And so you're still going to be resonating in a very happy and contented and blessed place. And again, that is, again, the law of attraction, because it's at that true moment when you're truly happy with yourself and what you've done and the work that you've done yourself that you truly begin to pull in a love connection, because it's without ego and it's with real gratitude, right? And you're healthy. You're really emotionally healthy. So, it's like one of those things. It isn't until you're ready to sort of not have love come in your life and be okay with it that you're emotionally healthy enough to call love into your life. Do you know what I mean? It's one of those catch-22s. All right, here are your clarifiers. There we have Queen of Swords and 3 of Discs. So works is involved. There's your 6 of Cups being clarified. And there's your Hanged Man. Bottom of the deck, you have the Prince of Cups. So Prince of Cups is the same as the Knight of Cups in the traditional deck. And so let's just get into it, my lovely Scorpio. Yes, of course, Queen of Swords, and this is what I was talking about earlier. Remember when I said, realizing some epiphanies about who you are? Well, the Queen of Swords, look at her. Look at how exhausted she is. She is the Queen of Swords in the sense that she has learned to peel away her mask, right? She has learned to peel away the mask and stop pretending to be somebody that she's not. She's learned to face her demons by doing that. Sometimes we peel away the mask we're wearing to the outside world, and we also have to face who we really are. But then there's clarity in that, and then we're able to really work on our shortcomings rather than work on a false sort of face of ourselves, right? And so she raises up out of the clouds into clarity, and this is exactly what I said earlier. It's this understanding that you guys are having, Scorpio, this year, that a lot of sort of your troubles up until now, or perhaps your failures, right, have been as a result of really you not facing up to who you really are, and therefore also not facing up to any of your lingering problems that you could be healing from. You realize this so strongly now coming into the new year with this Ace of Swords, and this is what I mean. It's like an epiphany where you're like, you know what? Shit. Maybe it's been me. Maybe it's the outlook that I've had, or maybe it's the way I've just been carrying my, just these huge sort of awakenings into like, what you've been doing to sort of stop your own forward progress, right? And you realize that it's about facing up to who you are, and it's also about being confident and sort of self-care, right? With Empress, having enough self-care that you realize the true you is what's most valuable. Queen of Swords also doesn't tolerate anyone around her who's a phony either, because she's done that hard work. And so for a lot of you, you're also going to be getting away from any relationships with people who are phonies, or, who aren't really who they say they are, and their energies are very toxic. Back of your head, Empress, you're covered with 3 of Pentacles. So there we have an increase of work and creativity this year. And all of this is coming in because you're really pouring a lot of sort of nurturing and love into yourself. You're keeping your sort of grounds fertile so that the ideas can continue to spread and sprout. 3 of Discs is works, and it talks about a time in your life where you're getting more and more work in your career, or if your business may be picking up. You may be collaborating with people. 3 of Pentacles is also very much a time when you're collaborating with a lot of people, working in a group. This is all very nice, and this is all a real esteem booster, but this is all certainly going to be happening this year as a result of you really working on yourself, because your creative sort of juices are really going to start flowing this year, right? Also, by pulling away this mask, it's like you're really showing your true, creative potential. And people are going to notice that. And this is why you have 3 of Pentacles, because people want to get next to the person who's that sort of confident and creative, and that's you. And so your your working social group is going to increase. There's your pleasure, 6 of Cups. This is what I was talking about earlier. This is the same as this card here, but it's the off deck. And we talk about, you desire to have pleasure in your relationships, to have happy relationships, not to have them always be full of drama or angst or bitterness or arguing and back and forth. You really, truly desire to have a happy and sort of pleasurable relationship this year. And you do believe that a lot of it is going to be, is dependent on this sort of opportunity here. Some of you do feel really strongly. I think a lot of you feel as though you've been stuck in a certain area in your love life because of the finances. Here you have Hanged Man energy. And the Hanged Man does come in when you've woken up. And of course, he comes in over that King of Cups. But this is what I mean, Scorpio. I think a lot of you absolutely believe that because your finances haven't really been where you wanted them to be for a while, that this is one of the reasons why you haven't really been able to live the life you want to live socially or with regard to relationships, or why you haven't been able to call in this soulmate. You round the year off with Hanged Man, and so I think, you do, at the end of the year, you feel again like, you realize you've been stuck in a lot of areas. You realize that you were in this Hanged Man energy. Hanged Man shows up when we wake up, okay? So when the Hanged Man shows up in a reading, that means we've woken up to the fact that for a period of time, we haven't really been putting our best foot forward. And I think this is one of the realizations you come to at the end of this year after you go through a lot of the things you go through, especially calling in a lover and it maybe not necessarily working right away until you deal with these issues, right? And so all of these things are waking you up. These sort of reactions that you're getting from people, from someone, maybe one person who really loves you, who's tried with you and they finally walk away. This is also has a huge impact on you kind of like waking up to like realizing that you just haven't put the right amount of work in, but now you want to do it. And not only is it that you want to put the right amount of work in, but you're actually now really ready to put the work into yourself, to deal with some of your own demons, to resonate higher, to get stronger emotionally, mentally, certainly mentally here. Beautiful, beautiful spread. And you absolutely, this year, I'm going to say for a lot of you, when the money comes in, when you begin to take advantage of this golden opportunity that comes in quite quickly in the beginning of the year, some of you do indeed have a lot of sort of physical relationships. You may be going out drinking and flirting a lot more. And that's just as a result of you sort of celebrating this income or this opportunity coming in. But some of you still have very much an eye on this one love connection that you're wanting to pull back into your life. And of course, here's Knight of Cups or Prince of Cups, which is the same as the Knight of Cups. And he is resonating also with this desire to go out and get his lover and explain himself or communicate himself to this object of his affection. All right, guys, I'm going to leave it there. This is your reading for 2020 outlook. It turned to be quite intensive. Scorpio is definitely, you are being led by your desire for a connection with someone you love deeply, but where you're being led is down a road of true self-transformation and understanding. You're going to really wake up to a lot of sides of yourself that have been sleeping for quite some time. You're really going to wake up to some of your own behavior patterns, maybe, and some of your sort of outdated ways of thinking about certain things that may have restricted you, right? And may have stopped you from sort of bringing in the type of relationship that you've been wanting. But you realize all of this also this year, and so you release all of that and you make the way for a loving relationship to come back in. After all is said and done, you're going to definitely run off the year feeling absolutely blessed, and yet at the same time feeling truly happy and ready and healthy and ready to make that commitment with somebody. But it won't be until further towards the end of the year after you've done all of this really strong, beautiful shadow work. All right, Scorpio, I hope you enjoyed it. Please like, subscribe, and share. Trying to conserve my voice, so I'm trying to talk low, but sometimes the readings just get too exciting for me. But if you enjoyed this, like I said, go ahead and leave me a comment. Don't forget, I am giving away this month for Christmas the beautiful Colette Baron Reed Spirit Animal deck, which I have already done an unboxing video for. And one of you lucky subscribers will win this. Of course, you're going to win a brand new one that's covered in the plastic and everything. And it'll be delivered directly to your home or wherever you're at on Christmas Eve or Christmas Day, depending on where in the world you are. And all you need to do to be in the running for that deck is to be subscribed to my channel to let me know that you're interested in receiving that Oracle deck. All right, guys, for right now, Scorpio, you definitely have a wonderful, wonderful end of 2018. And please have a beautiful, beautiful 2018. What am I saying? Have a wonderful end of 2019 and then have an awesome 2020. Bye-bye now.